So today we will cover about the VPC, which is virtual private cloud. So as we know, in every system, when we design for the AWS cloud or any other cloud like Azure or any IBM something, so we need a network, right? First, to create any load balancer or EC2 instance or any database service. So similar like in the traditional way, if you look at the traditional way, we need a network, right, to host any particular hardware there, like IP address or something. So same situation, if you want to design any architecture in the cloud environment, any cloud or any network, you can consider like traditional way, I mean the data center or the cloud basically. So as an architect, when you design any infrastructure, so you should first understand the requirement basically and the complete network architecture basically, which is VPC. How your application will run and from where, which network it will be accessible, and your database should be in public or private network, right? Ideally, is a as a standard practice for the real time, we should use in a private subnet, not the public subnet, for the security perspective. So to access any machines like database or load balancer or EC2 instance, obviously we need a network interface, right? Without a network interface, we will not able to connect or identify any servers in the both situation, either cloud or other way like traditional data centers. If you don't know any IP address, then how we can connect to particular servers, right? Or Linux machine or Windows machines. So in that situation, IP address is must. Okay. So same way, what in the VPC virtual private cloud basically, we need to design the IP pool basically. Okay. It's not a big thing. We need to design how much IP address we need in our project, how much host basically. If there are in normal use cases, then we can consider CID range according to that. And if you are using a practical perspective like a personal account, we can go, that doesn't make any matter basically. So if we go with the little CID range or bigger one, as we are using for the personal account. But in the when you design for the real time projects, you can consider how much public subnet should be there and how much private subnet should be there. So ideally it can be one public subnet and one private subnet, or you can design like two public subnet and two private subnet. It's a depend on your how much resources you want to create in the particular network basically, in your AWS accounts. Okay. So based on that, you can design the VPC CIDR range basically on that. And the VPC is a AWS managed service, which is network service basically. We just need to configure based on the IP range. Okay. And from the backend underlying hardware, they will manage AWS basically. We just need to configure it. And AWS provide, as we know, AWS provide one by default VPC, right? This one, which is the IP address is 172.31.00/16. Okay. So if you just take for the example how much host we will get in this CIDR range, we can just copy, and there is a one website. Let me open it. We can calculate basically. One more is there. Okay, CIDR.xyz. If you just copy here, 72 dot. Let me open here. If I just make it here, so if I use this network address and slash mask bit 16 CID range basically, then I will get a number of hosts 65,534. Okay. And now when you design any VPC, how much based on the how much subnets range basically, and the for the both subnet basically, private and public one. So you can, this website is basically very helpful to divide the simply the subnet basically. So I will come on that part. So AWS will already create one by default VPC for as a user. So if you are a beginner or something, so and we don't want to create any additional VPC, let's say for the practical purpose, so we can use their default VPC, and we can launch resources like load balancer, RDS, and EC2 instance. If you don't want to create any additional VPC, so they will create by default this default VPC. Okay, with this CIDR range and two subnets basically. You can see here default one. Okay. As a best practice in the real time, basically we should not use default VPC, because it might not suit the requirements, or for the security perspective. Like if you want to design something particular IP address range, right, 192 series or 10 dot series something. So we can't use that with the default VPC, because it's starting from the 172 something. And another is, it's a shared VPC. If you open any AWS cloud account, you will get this VPC basically with the same CIDR range, 172.31 something. Okay. And for the security perspective and other controlling basically, there is a limited scope to manage this VPC. We can't do many configuration with the default VPC. So if you want to design particular public subnet and private subnet, so that also there is some limitations. So to avoid this kind of situation in the real time, we need to design our custom VPC basically, with the whatever the IP address range we want, how much subnets, private and public, and whatever the other settings basically. Okay. So we can use for that a custom VPC. So we can completely control on that, and we can change options anytime on that if we create any custom VPC. So in that VPC, there is some component basically subnets. It can be private or public. Public subnet is basically on the public subnet where internet access will be there. Okay, in the public subnet. But if we create private subnet, there is a no internet connectivity basically. It's in a without connectivity. If you want to attach or if you suppose, let's say we created any RDS or any EC2 instance in the private subnet, then that situation, if you want to patch that server, okay, that for the patching activity we need internet basically internet access. So in that situation we can attach NAT gateway. The NAT gateway feature is there in the VPC. We can attach NAT gateway, so it will be accessible internet basically, and we can patch that server. And there will be as a part of the VPC component, route table basically, how we can manage the traffic with the route tables. Then internet gateway is similar to our router, right, to provide the internet access. Then NAT gateway is basically to provide internet access to private subnet. We will use NAT gateway. Earlier it was a NAT instance, but now most of the organization use this NAT gateway basically. And there is an option for the security point of view, NACL, which is network access control list, and the security group. We will cover, because this will the question on this part definitely come, the difference between NACL and the security group, and the VPC endpoint also. These are the some important component to as a prepare for the interview, for the real time interviews. Okay, so we need to consider all the factors: VPC endpoints, NACL and security group, NAT gateway, internet gateway, route table, and basically the VPC architecture. And there is one more additional things like on-prem. Let's say we have any on-prem data center, and you want to connect that on-prem data center to AWS network, VPC basically. So in that situation, a customer organization might use direct connect service or a VPN service basically. There is additional things basically. It's they need to purchase or something. The other process need to follow. As a real time, we normally we don't configure that direct connect service or something, but in the interview they might ask these questions just for the knowledge purpose. But in the task wise, obviously we will not get those kind of tasks, because it's bound to organization level. The security team or network team, they will manage on these stuffs. And I just designed one architecture here for the VPC basically. So we have AWS account. Inside that we have a region, right? Let's say Mumbai region. So in that Mumbai region we have a different availability zones. Okay, so in that we can use VPC with the internet gateway, which will provide the internet access, and we will create two subnets basically, one private and public subnet. So in the public subnet we will create one EC2 instance. There will be RDS which is in private subnets. And if you have a questions like how to connect this public subnet EC2 instance to private subnet. So there is a, when we create any EC2 instance basically, because both are in single VPC basically, and when we create a EC2 instance, it will give it will get two IP address, right? One is a public IP address and another one is private IP address. So we can use either this EC2 security group to open the port inside the database security group as a inbound rules. Okay, you can attach a security group for the EC2 instance, or you can give private IP address as a inbound rule for the security groups. Okay, and if you have a different VPC, then we will use VPC peering basically. So in the practicals we will come on that we will cover that part. So as of now, any questions on the VPC part? Then we will create a one VPC VPC.
No,
Any questions?
Yes, I have.
no, no.
Like when we are creating roles, so we can connect to these service. Over that we can communicate, right, from EC2 to RDS.
Which role basically?
Like for the authorization, we use roles, right? And for the network connectivity, you are saying the security group needs to be created, right?
Yeah, when we create a EC2 instance and RDS, obviously we will create one security group, right? When we create these resources, so either there is a two options to open the port to connect EC2 instance to RDS. So inside the we need to go to the RDS security group here. Okay, and as an inbound rule, either we can add EC2 instance private IP address or EC2 instance security group as an inbound rule for the RDS security group. So we will see in the practical, so it will be covered.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I have already created one VPC, but just to show you, I will create one VPC. So how to design basically VPC, how much public when we design public subnet and the private subnet, how we can decide this, the range basically, so let's say there are some private IP address range, right? This network 192 series or 172 or 10 dot series something. If you just heard about the networking part, when CCNA or something, a private IP address range. So let's say just take this example. This series basically CIDR range. So this website will definitely help you to design the subnet level subnet calculation basically. So let's say just copy here 10 dot series, just remove this mask. Here if I just click on update, let me reset it. Okay, if I just click update, so it will by default give one subnet. Okay, now our requirement is we need one private subnet and one public subnet. Okay, so private and public subnet is clear, right? The concept, Ajit Bhagwan. Subnet is basically the group of IP address, basically we can say normally pool, IP pool, the IP range basically. Nothing apart from that. The subnet is basically IP range of the particular things. Like let's say this IP address range. So in that IP address range, let's say we have now divided into two subnets. So let's say we have two subnets now. So the range we will get like this 10.0.0 to 10.0.127 to 255. In this subnet basically we will get this kind of host basically 32,766 IP address we will get. Okay, and we have another subnet IP and IP address range, which we will give same IP address 32,766. Okay, so we can consider as this one will be public subnet and another one is private subnet basically. So we can just divide this way. Now let's say you in a real time project, you have a requirement like you want to create two public subnet and two private subnet. Okay, so on the first subnet you can just simply click on this divide button, so it will automatically calculate with the CIDR range. Okay, and it will automatically give you subnet range basically this way. You don't need to manually calculate or something. So this is a very useful website. So you can these two subnet you can consider for a public, and for this you can just click on simply divide. Okay, it will automatically divide into two subnets. and you can consider these two subnets for the private one. So this way you can design number of subnets in the project basically. For now we just need two subnets, so I have already collected the IP address range here. Okay, so let's create one VPC basically. Copy this IP address range. For that you can just search VPC here, okay, inside the AWS account, and just click on that. AWS now provide two kind of wizard basically. Earlier was only single kind of wizard where we need to give the IP address range for the VPC, okay, and the subnet as well. So now they have one more features. I have not tried that, but let's try today. So for now I will just go with the older way basically. Just simply click on create VPC here, okay, and then here this one option is added for by the AWS basically recently. Date I am not sure exactly when they added, but this one added, so we will cover that later. So for now I will go with the older steps. Just click on this VPC only option, give the VPC name like demo VPC, okay. Here they have options. If you are not sure which options I need to use, you can just click on info and you can see this information basically. So for now just we will go with the default one, IP address CIDR manual input, okay. So let me add the IP address range for the VPC, okay, and just go with the default one, no IPv6 CIDR block. If you have a requirement then you can use that kind of way, otherwise you can just keep it, okay. And if you want to add any tags here just for the identification purpose, tag means what, you can just add any name or created by, let's say, just to identify who created this VPC, and you can just mention like name basically, person name. This is optional part, not the compulsory one, okay. But in the real time, maintaining the tags basically helps sometime. Let's say you have any Jira ticket, because in the real time when you work on any task, you should first create your Jira task. Otherwise basically you should follow the proper process. After creating the Jira task and assign only, after that you need to work on that, okay, based on the Jira ticket. So you can just mention like Jira ticket or something, and you can add Jira ticket whatever in the real time, okay, your project, and just simply click on create VPC. So it will create VPC basically. There is a lots of option, but I will go later part, okay. For now I will not confuse. So now we have created VPC, right? So now as we have seen here, the component basically VPC component. So these are the things we need to design the VPC VPC architecture, right? This one VPC, we need public subnet and private subnet, okay. So let's create two subnet basically. Just click on subnets here, just click here create subnet, okay. And here we need to select our VPC which we have created, right? This one, it will give the pop up the name here, okay. Just make sure you should select correct VPC which we have recently created, okay. Then it will automatically get the IP address whatever we have configured. Then just give the subnet name demo public subnet, okay. Public subnet. Availability zones, either you can select or you can just keep it, okay. And subnet range you need to give, as we have already collected. For private public subnet we can use this. Sorry. Subnet is basically the range of IP address, in short. Nowadays AWS done the lots of changes in their portal, so it will automatically fetch the how much IP address we will get by this range, okay. Simply create subnet, okay. The subnet has been created, okay. So now let's go to the private subnet we need to create, and just click same process, demo VPC, and you can give the name like demo private subnet, okay. You might get the question, on what basis you will how you can define the public or private subnet. Okay, as of now it's we have not done the proper entire steps, so we will cover basically how you can make sure which subnet should be private and which one should be public. Okay, so let me create in different subnet, then give the range name here and just simply create subnet. Okay, so now let's just copy the VPC ID. Basically this one we have created demo VPC, just copy this, go to subnet, we can just search it. Okay, we have now two subnet, one is private and another one is public one. Okay, you can see the CID range here. Now we need one more component, as I said, route tables internet gateway. Okay, VPC endpoints are optional one, I will explain you when we can use that. Okay, just click on route table. Here we can define the two route tables, one is for private subnet and another one is for public subnet. Okay, just click on create route table and you can give the name like demo route table public. Okay, and then you need to select the VPC, correct VPC. Okay, demo VPC, simply create route table. Okay, let's go back to the same process and create one for private one, demo RT private. Okay, select the VPC here, demo VPC, and click. Now to provide the internet access for this VPC, we need to create internet gateway. Okay, this is basically for you similar as a route table, sorry, not route table, your router basically. So simply click on internet gateway and click create internet gateway. Okay, just give the name like demo internet gateway. Okay, and simply create it. So now we have created one VPC, two subnets, private and public. We have created two route tables. One is for public and another one is private. Okay, and also we have created the subnets here. Sorry, internet gateway. So what we can do is now to provide the internet access for the VPC, just we need to attach this internet gateway to this VPC basically. Okay, just select that from the action attach to VPC. Okay, and from here we need to select the VPC. It will automatically pop up demo VPC and simply attach it. Okay, now in the route table we need to make some entry basically. Let's copy the VPC CIDR from here. Sorry, not CIDR, VPC ID. Go to route tables, just copy this. Okay, we have public subnet and private subnet, right? So how we can define this should be public one and this should be private one. Okay, so just if you just click on that, okay, you will see in the routes. Okay, if you, I think Bhagwan is already working in the network, right? So you he might aware about this routing or routing policy or something. Obviously the device might be different, but just comes concept wise. So select the routes here. Okay, just click on route, edit routes, and we need to add the internet gateway routes here. Okay, just select the 00 which is for the any network, and here we need to select the internet gateway. Okay, internet gateway, and it will automatically come which we have created demo internet gateway, right? Just simply click on that and save changes. So for this route table we have added this route entry, right? Because we are giving the internet access to this route table. Which route table? Demo RT public one. Okay, now as we have known, we have just understand route table is basically it will just to how we can handle the traffic, basically internet access or something, we will define this route table. Okay, now we have added the internet gateway here. Okay, now one more thing, in the subnet association. Okay, in subnet association we need to add what we need to add? This public subnet. Okay, this public subnet we need to add in the subnet association. Okay, where in the route table entry, just paste the VPC ID here. Just select the route tables public one. Okay, and click on subnet association, and you will see the options edit subnet association. Okay, and here you will see two subnets which we have created, right? Private one and public one. So now we want to give the internet access to public subnet, so just click on that and save subnet association. Okay, so now we have done with the basic setup. So for the public one, sorry, private one, this private one we have not added any route internet gateway entry or internet gateway entry basically, but we need to assign subnet here. Which one? Private one. Okay, just click on edit subnet, select the private one. Okay, not the public one, because we are adding in the private route table. Select private subnet here and simply save association. So now we have done with the basic setup. Basically we have created VPC with the two subnets, private and public. We have created two route table entry. Okay, public and private. In the public route tables we have added the internet gateway to provide the internet access, and we have attached the subnet, basically public subnet here. Okay, and for the private route table we haven't attached any internet gateway, because we don't want to give access for the internet, right, for the private subnet. And in the subnet association we have attached the private subnet. Okay, so difference is basically on on the private route table we haven't attached any internet gateway. So this is the main difference, how on what basis we need to define the route subnet. Basically it should be public or private. Okay, if you go and get the questions in the interview, how you can define the subnet should be private or public, so you can just explain this way. So in the route we should not attach any internet gateway entry here. Okay, if you attach internet gateway entry here, that private subnet will get the access, internet access. Okay, so what is the best way to give the internet access for this private subnets? So there is options like, internet NAT gateway this way, right? So you can create one NAT gateway on the public subnet and you need to attach. So we will cover in the next week, basically in the practical sessions. So for today, now we have created one VPC and the setup, right? So now let's go to the EC2 instance. We will try in the real time. Okay, we will create one EC2 instance in the public subnet, and we will create one database in private subnet, right? So side by side, let me open RDS here. Okay, any doubts in this now? Because I'm jumbling window here and there, so I hope this will not issue for you.
No, it's clear.
Okay, Ajit Bhagwan, flow wise is clear, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, just simple process is, we before designing the any VPC, we need to collect the data. Basically what data? What IP address range we need to collect for the number of hosts for the VPC. Then how much subnets we need, public or private. Okay, and what range should be, IP range should be for the public subnet, and what IP range should be for the private subnet. Okay, so to define this you can use this website, simply this one. Okay, I will give on the chat box as well. And then we can just first need to create VPC. Okay, with that particular IP address range, then go to subnets. Okay, just create one by one subnets, simply with that IP address range. Okay, this one. And then create one route table, two route tables, one route table for a private subnet and one route table for public subnet. Okay, then then just go to internet gateway and create one internet gateway and attach that internet gateway to that particular VPC. Okay, now coming back, to the route table entry basically. Let me copy. No. Okay, for the public route table, you need to give the route entry here for the internet gateway. Okay, because for the public subnet we want to give the internet access. Okay, and for the private one we don't want to give the internet access, so we don't need to create that entry. Okay, and inside the subnet association, you need to give the you need to attach basically subnet inside the private route table. You need to attach private subnet, and for the public route table you need to attach public subnet. Okay, this is the process just to create the VPC basically. So now we will create one RDS here. Just simply click on RDS and select, let's say, Aurora MySQL. Just select the template dev and test. We can go with the default value. Okay, just we don't need password. Okay, we just want to just communicate basically, or we can, let's say, let me give any password basically. How to create RDS is clear, right? We have already covered the session. Namita, do you have any questions in this for the RDS creation?
No.
Okay, so from here we can just select the instance type. Okay, I don't want, if you want replica like master slave, you can select this one, otherwise you can just go with this. But I just remember one point Namita was asked in the last session. Namita, we want to test, right? How to, if suppose something goes wrong with the master server, then how we can promote, right, slave server as a master.
Yes, yes, yes.
So let's go with that option. So just select the multi AZ. Then if you want to now AWS has added this option. I haven't tried, but you can try this. We can either give the connect to an EC2 instance options, so we can do hands-on practical for this. Okay, and we know IPv4 and VPC. Sorry, VPC. We need to select here demo VPC. Okay, demo VPC. Then here just remember these things. In real time cases we don't need to give the public access. Okay, we don't want to use outside the network, so it should be a private one. Okay, just either you can go with the default security group, or you can just add one more. Okay, let me add security group demo RDS security group. I don't want any monitoring options because it will charge, and simply click on create database. Okay, so side by side, let me launch EC2 instance. Just give the name like demo EC2 or RDS. Then select OS. Okay, instance type, I will go with the default one. Key pair you can select. Okay, and here network setting, you need to select your proper VPC. Okay, we have demo VPC, right? So now in the subnet section, we need to select public one, right? Because we want that kind of setup, public subnet. Okay, just select that, and here you can add a new security group. Okay, create new security group demo security group EC2. Okay, and just simply let me open the SSH for port for now anywhere. Okay, but in the real time you should not open anywhere. You can use your VPN IP address or something. Okay, whatever there in the organization. Here I want to give one more hint here for you. Sometimes you might get the questions like how to give a fixed private IP address, right? Normally it will automatically get the VPC, sorry, private IP address from the VPC range basically, whatever we have defined, like this range, okay, for that subnet. So if you have a question, someone asks the question like, apart from this, I want any particular IP address, okay. If you just heard about the concept in the DSCP mic binding, right? We want to configure particular fixed IP address for the EC2 instance. So same concept. If you want to ask add particular IP address, private IP address, we can give here, okay. If you want to attach any particular range, like, let's say, apart from this range, I need, so you need 1.10 IP address, right? So you can just mention here where it is in the advanced network configuration. This is for giving the fixed IP address, private IP address, not the public one, okay. So you can just for your knowledge, I am just showing. So you can give this kind of settings, okay. And storage, I need default one, and simply, if you want to, there are lots of options basically. If you want to, don't want to accidental deletion for the EC2 instance, you can enable the termination protection from here, okay. Termination protection, you need to select it enable for the production servers. Because if any developer or any someone accidentally trying to delete any servers, okay, so it will not delete, basically it will give the error. The termination protection is enabled. So to avoid this kind of accidental deletion, you need to select this option, termination protection enable, okay. For now I'm just not selecting, and simply launch instance. Okay, just go to that instance status. It will take a little bit time. Let's check database status. Database process takes some time basically to create the servers. As of now you can see the roles here, writer instance and role instance, okay. So now meantime what we can do is, suppose we have this server, right? In the project, if you have multiple servers and you want to see only particular servers, you can just copy that server name and you can just paste here, okay. Only that particular server will come here, okay. Just select this one, and we have created security group separately, right, for the EC2 instance, this one. And we got the public IP address still not assigned, okay. But if you can just check the private IP address, right, we have given this fixed IP address, you remember, right? 1.10. So it will automatic that IP address it will assign particular IP address. If you just observe now, we have created VPC and the subnets and other stuffs like, and also we have launched AC2 instance. But if you just look at here, we haven't get a public IP address, right? So Namita, normally when we launch AC2 instance, we will get public by default public IP address, right?
Yes.
But in this situation we haven't get. So let's find out it. There is one more setting in the subnets when we design the subnets basically. I purposefully avoid that. Just I want to show you, because if you in the real time when you design any VPC, you should aware about this. So let's open the demo VPC. There is a setting basically we need to enable that demo VPC
Is that DHCP one or a different?
DNS.
Okay.
Let's edit VPC setting here. We can also enable DNS hostname as well. Okay, and just save. Go to that subnet. Okay, find out the subnet. Click on the public subnet. Okay, and from the action, edit subnet setting. Okay, here is the option auto assign IP address. Okay, so it will by default not enable, so we need to enable. when we create the is VPC and subnet. Okay, just remember these things. Enable auto assign public IP address. Okay, and simply save it. If you just look at again, there is other options as well. It's they depend on the requirement, so you can enable that. Okay, just we have enabled the IP address. Okay, now let's launch one more EC2 instance. Let me stop it. Launch one more instance. Give the same name. Just I am just giving one here. Okay, select same OS, default configuration, key pair. In the network setting, we can we need to select the VPC, demo VPC. Okay, which we have created, and here just need to select the public one. Okay, public subnet, and now it will automatically come here, right? Auto assign public IP enabled. Okay, now select existing VPC which we have created, demo SG EC2. Okay, and simply click launch. So now it will automatically get public IP address. Okay, it's in pending state. Yeah, you can see. Okay, so this way we can just do the proper setting for the VPC and subnet level. Okay, and also it is and the DNS endpoint here, public DNS we have enabled on the subnet, right? VPC and subnet. So now let's try to connect this server. Just simply click on that and connect and connect. Okay, if you have a console access, then you can use this option, console base. You don't need to use putty here. Okay, so we have login now. Just go to root privileges, and now let's check the database status. It's still in the creation process. So if you just click on this master writer instance basically, and we will give it will give the endpoint here. Okay, let's copy it. Sorry, and we can just try to telnet it. Okay, on the MySQL port number. Just copy the writer database endpoint here and give the MySQL port number 3306. Okay, and let's try it. Telnet command is not there, so let's install it. Yum install telnet, and let's try again. It's taking time because we haven't open any port. Okay, for this EC2 instance. So let's go to RDS database. Okay, and from the security group here. Okay, just open it in the new tab, and in the inbound rules. Okay, inbound rules, edit inbound rules, just add rules here. Okay, and select MySQL port. Now here either you can go with the your EC2 instance. Let me open it. EC2 instance, we have this EC2 instance. Okay, so let's go to either we can give this private IP address or this EC2 instance security group. Okay, this one. So let's try with the IP address first, private IP address. Okay, not the public one. And go to RDS security group. We have already opened in the separate tab. Okay, and just paste here. Select it and save rules. Again, let's try to use that command. See, we have added the no private IP address in the inbound rules for the RDS. Okay, so now we are able to access the database service basically. So in the, if you have any applications, you can use connection string as a developer do basically. Connection string is basically database endpoint and username and password basically. But for just for the testing purpose, we are just doing telnet here. Okay, with the MySQL port number. Now this we have added with the IP address. Okay, let's try with the security group for the RDS. Just open again RDS security group. Okay, here just click on edit inbound rules. Let me delete this database and just copy the EC2 server security group. Okay, security group ID basically. Just copy this clipboard and go to that RDS security group inbound rules. Open MySQL port here. Okay, and just select security. Just copy paste here basically security group ID. Okay, it will automatically pop up here. Just select that and save it. So let's try to telnet again. Okay, yeah, see, so this two way basically, two way you can open the port for the database server. Okay, so if I just again just delete this entry, this one, right, delete and save, and if you try again, it will not allow to connect, right, it's not connecting. So this way you can manage the security group for the RDS, from which I paired EC2 instance you want to give the permissions basically, access access permission. Any doubts in this security part, how we can open the MySQL port for particular EC2 instance? No. Okay.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. And we have set up, right, we don't want to use this endpoint from the outside the AWS basically, outside the VPC. So as you can see here under the configuration, connectivity and security, you can see the options. Public accessibility, no. Okay, and if you just try to hit from our local machine. Okay, let's try to do that. Telnet, just copy this endpoint and port 3306. Okay, so it will not allow to connect because it's a private one. Okay, even if I use security group, let me open again security group inbound rules. Let me try to open this port to for the public network. Okay, anywhere MySQL, let me do it anywhere. Okay, I am just opening for the public one. Just simply click save. Let me try again. Still we will not able to connect. Okay, because database is in private subnet, right, and we have configured like public accessibility, no. So this way you can just secure your database basically in the real time. And if you want to use subnets here, VPC details you can find here as well, availability zones and VPC basically. And there is other options as well, you can just you just have a practical for this. Logs and events, you can find the database logs here. Okay, then the maintenance and backups, monitoring part, connectivity. So when you do practical, you can check these options one by one, so at least this might help you in the interview preparation. So now let's try to troubleshoot that. Now we have a database server, master and slave, right, writer and read. So let's say something happen with the wrong happen with the writer server, right. So let's manually make it fail basically. There is options here to make it fail. So error ideas, you will not able to stop for the longer period. Okay, it will automatically, it will stop only for the 7 days. Okay, you can see the options, stop temporarily. Okay, and after 7 days it will automatically start. Just click on your writer instance and let's see the options. Okay, if you select the writer options, you will see fail over here, right. So if you just consider now, the database instance 1 ap south 1b is reader 1, right? So now after making this option, it should promote to writer 1. Okay, let's try that. Just click on failure and just make it failure. So RDS AWS will automatically promote to writer 1 from this reader to writer 1. Okay, we don't need to do any manual intervention here. It will take some time basically. Let's refresh it. You can see the status here, failing over. Yeah, the role status has been changed, right? So the earlier this instance was reader one, right? So now it's promote to writer one. So we don't need to do anything basically. The IDS will automatically manage these things. If something underlying system or there something failure from their side, it will automatically manage by IDS. Now clear, right, Namita?
Yeah, it's clear.
If I again make it failure from here, it will again roll back. Roll back means it will again promote to this one as a writer. So apart from this, any other questions like on the VPC or and the VPC setup and the EC22 MySQL RDS port open basically. Ajit, Bhagwan, any questions?
Yes, I think we need a practice because so many things are there, right?
Definitely,
So
you
how
need a practice
it
because
gets related. Yeah, yeah.
these are the real time situation, right? You need to design the
Yes.
VPC, and if you have an EC2 instance where his application is running, and you have a RDS database, and you need to open the port. Okay, if you let's say where it is security group. So let's say by mistakenly you have open configured your database server with the public network. Okay, public accessibility, yes, and we have opened the MySQL port for the public network. This might be a compliance issue, right? Because it's a security risk to open. एंड रियल टाइम एक दो प्रोजेक्ट में देखा है मैंने साइबेज में, जहाँ पे जो बंदे मैनेज करते थे उन्होंने डेटाबेस तो प्राइवेट था, ठीक है, बट वो एसएसएच पोर्ट जहाँ पे AC2 इंस्टेंस अटैच था, जिस AC2 पे उन्होंने एसएसएच पोर्ट ओपन रखा था वो पब्लिकली, वो उन लोगों को ऑडिट में फाइंड आउट हुआ। वो ये स्मॉल मिस्टेक्स होती है, तो ये थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखना पड़ता है उसमें। प्रैक्टिस डेफिनेटली इस पे आपको करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि वीपीसी तो मेन है। इंटरव्यू में, अब कहीं भी इंटरव्यू में भी जाते हो तो वीपीसी या नेटवर्क का पूछा ही जाता है आपको। नमिता, आपने कुछ इंटरव्यू दिए है ना?
हाँ, मैंने एक दिया है
हम्म।
डे बिफोर स्टडी। उसमें मुझे AWS के बारे में तो नहीं पूछा, बल्कि डॉकर, टेराफॉर्म और कुबरनेटीज, इस पर ही क्वेश्चन है मोस्टली।
हाँ, वो रोल पे भी डिपेंड करता है ना, उनका रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है।
हाँ हाँ हाँ, एक्चुअली। और उनका GCP था, तो
Hmm.
उन्होंने मैं